What if I told you that the world's fastest, most expensive, and most obsessively engineered cars were born not in a factory, but in the mind of a man who saw himself as an artist first and a car maker second? A man so obsessed with perfection that he once said a car should be as beautiful as it is fast. This is the story of Bugatti, a brand that has been bankrupt, seized by war, buried for decades, and resurrected not once, but twice, only to come back stronger every single time. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the Bugatti badge is worth more than almost anything else on four wheels. Welcome to my channel, Modus. If you love deep dives into the world's greatest car brands, do me a favor right now and hit that like button and subscribe, because it genuinely helps this channel grow. Now let's get into it. The man behind the myth. Our story starts with Ettore Bugatti, born in 1881 in Milan, Italy, into a family that breathed art. His father, Carlo Bugatti, was a famous furniture and jewelry designer, and his brother, Rembrandt, became a celebrated sculptor. Ettore grew up surrounded by craftsmanship, but instead of picking up a paintbrush or a chisel, he fell in love with machines. As a teenager, he started experimenting with bicycles and tricycles, and by the age of 17, he had already built his first motorized vehicle. This wasn't a hobby for him. This was destiny. By his early 20s, Ettore was already designing cars for other manufacturers across Europe, including a stint working with companies in France and Germany. He had a rare gift. He understood mechanics like an engineer, but he approached every design like a sculptor. He believed that a machine's beauty was inseparable from its function, and that philosophy would define everything he built for the rest of his life. In 1909, Ettore Bugatti took the biggest gamble of his career. He rented an old dye factory in Molsheim, a small town in the Alsace region, which was part of Germany at the time, but would later become French territory. There, in that modest workshop, he founded Automobiles Ettore Bugatti. This single decision, made in a small European town most people had never heard of, would go on to shape more than a century of automotive history. Bugatti's very first car, the Type 13, debuted in 1910, and it shocked the racing world. It was small, light, and incredibly agile, powered by a four-cylinder engine that Ettore had designed with an obsessive attention to precision. The Type 13 wasn't just fast for its size, it started winning races almost immediately, and suddenly, this unknown Italian engineer working out of a French dye factory was being talked about across Europe. Here's a question for you. Why do you think a tiny, underfunded workshop could suddenly outperform massive, well-established car manufacturers of the era? The answer is simple, and it's a theme you'll see repeat throughout Bugatti's entire history. Ettore never compromised on engineering integrity, even when it cost him money, time, or convenience. While bigger companies mass-produced cars for profit, Bugatti treated every single vehicle like a piece of functional sculpture. Then World War I hit, and production came to a halt. Ettore actually moved to Italy and later Paris during the war, secretly continuing to design aircraft engines for the French war effort. But once the war ended in 1918, Bugatti returned to Molsheim, and what followed became known as Bugatti's Golden Era. Throughout the 1920s, Bugatti released one legendary model after another. The Type 35, launched in 1924, is still considered one of the most successful racing cars ever built. It won over 1,000 races, including the Targa Florio 5 years in a row. The Type 35's horseshoe-shaped grille, which would later become Bugatti's most iconic design signature, first appeared on this very car. If you've ever seen a modern Bugatti Chiron or Tourbillon and noticed that distinctive horseshoe front end, you're looking at a design language that traces directly back to a car from 1924. By the late 20s and into the 1930s, Bugatti wasn't just building race cars anymore. Ettore's son, Jean Bugatti, joined the family business and brought a new level of artistic vision to the brand's road cars. Together, father and son created what many historians consider the most beautiful car ever built, the Type 57 SC Atlantic. Only a handful were ever made, with flowing riveted seams running down the body that were both a design feature and a structural necessity because of the lightweight magnesium alloy used in construction. Today, an original Atlantic is worth well over $100 million, and it's one of the rarest, most sought-after cars on the planet. This era also gave us the Type 41 Royale, an almost absurdly ambitious project. Ettore wanted to build the finest luxury car in the world for European royalty, and the Royale was enormous, with a straight-8 engine displacing an incredible 12.7 liters. It was so expensive and so impractical that only 6 were ever built, and Bugatti struggled to sell even those during the Great Depression. It's a perfect example of Ettore's personality. He would rather build something extraordinary and financially risky than something safe and profitable.
Now here's where the story takes a dark turn. In August 1939, Jean Bugatti, Ettore's son and the creative force behind the company's most beautiful designs, was testing a Type 57 race car near the Molsheim factory. He swerved to avoid a cyclist on the road, lost control, and was killed instantly. He was only 30 years old. This loss devastated Ettore, both personally and professionally, because Jean wasn't just his son, he was being groomed as the future of the entire company. Just weeks later, World War II broke out, and everything Bugatti had built came crashing down. The Molsheim factory, sitting right on the French-German border region, was occupied by German forces. Production of Bugatti automobiles essentially stopped, and the factory was repurposed for the war effort. Ettore, grieving his son and watching his life's work get torn apart by war, relocated to Paris. After the war ended in 1945, Ettore tried to rebuild. He fought for years to reclaim the Molsheim factory from French authorities, who had seized it as enemy property, since it had technically been under German control during parts of its history. He finally regained legal ownership in 1947, but by then, Ettore Bugatti was in poor health, and the company had lost most of its momentum. He passed away later that same year at the age of 66, without ever seeing his beloved company fully recover. Have you ever wondered what happens to a legendary brand when the singular genius behind it disappears? Bugatti struggled on for another decade under new management, releasing a few models, including an attempt at a comeback with the Type 101 in the early 1950s. But without Ettore's vision and without Jean's creative talent, the magic was gone. By 1963, after years of financial struggles, Automobiles Ettore Bugatti officially closed its doors. The die factory in Molsheim, once the birthplace of some of the most beautiful machines ever created, fell silent.
For nearly 2 decades, Bugatti existed only as a legend, a name whispered by car collectors and historians who remembered what the brand once represented. Various attempts were made to revive it during the 1980s, most notably by Italian entrepreneur Romano Artioli, who purchased the rights to the Bugatti name in 1987. Artioli built a stunning new factory in Campogalliano, Italy, and in 1991, Bugatti released the EB110, a mid-engine supercar with a quad-turbocharged V12 engine and all-wheel drive, which was genuinely ahead of its time technologically. Unfortunately, the EB110 launched right into a global recession, and despite its brilliance, sales were weak. By 1995, this second attempt at reviving Bugatti had also collapsed into bankruptcy. It seemed like the brand was simply cursed to rise briefly and fall again, generation after generation. Here's where the story takes its most dramatic turn. In 1998, the Volkswagen Group, under the leadership of Ferdinand Piëch, acquired the rights to the Bugatti name. Piëch was a legendary engineer in his own right, the grandson of Ferdinand Porsche, and he had an almost obsessive dream: to build the fastest, most powerful production car the world had ever seen, and to do it under the Bugatti badge, honoring Ettore's original philosophy of building cars with zero compromise. This obsession led to the creation of the Bugatti Veyron, which launched in 2005 after years of engineering challenges that nearly bankrupted the entire program multiple times. The Veyron was powered by an unprecedented V16 engine, essentially two V8s merged together, fitted with 4 turbochargers. It produced roughly 1,000 horsepower and could hit a top speed of 253 miles per hour, making it the fastest production car in the world at the time. Volkswagen reportedly lost money on every single Veyron sold because the engineering required to achieve those numbers was so extraordinarily expensive. But that didn't matter, because the Veyron wasn't really about profit. It was about proving that Bugatti's spirit, building something extraordinary regardless of the cost, was alive again. Quick question for you watching this. Do you think a company should ever build a product knowing it will lose money on it just to prove a point? Let me know what you think in the comments below, because this is exactly the kind of decision that has defined Bugatti's entire history. The Veyron was followed in 2016 by the Chiron, which pushed those numbers even further, eventually leading to variants that broke the 300-mile-per-hour barrier with the Chiron Supersport 300 Plus in 2019. Bugatti had officially become the benchmark for automotive extremes, a brand where engineering ambition mattered more than practicality or profit margins.
A new chapter, Rimac and beyond. In 2021, Bugatti entered yet another new era. Volkswagen, through Porsche, formed a joint venture with Rimac, the Croatian electric hypercar manufacturer led by entrepreneur Mate Rimac. This new company, called Bugatti Rimac, gave Rimac Group majority ownership, while Porsche retained a significant stake, blending Bugatti's century of luxury craftsmanship with Rimac's cutting-edge electric vehicle technology. The first product born from this partnership was the Tourbillon, revealed in 2024 as the successor to the Chiron. Instead of going fully electric, Bugatti made a fascinating choice. The Tourbillon uses a naturally aspirated 8.4-liter V16 engine developed with Cosworth, paired with a hybrid electric system, producing a combined output of around 1,800 horsepower. Its interior features an instrument cluster inspired by Swiss mechanical watchmaking, a deliberate nod to precision craftsmanship that would have made Ettore Bugatti himself proud. More recently, ownership within the Bugatti Rimac structure has continued to shift, with Porsche divesting its stake to a new group of investors, showing that even today, the Bugatti story is still being actively written. So here's a bigger question worth sitting with. After everything this brand has been through, bankruptcy, war, the death of its founder's son, decades of silence, 2 separate collapses, how has Bugatti managed to come back every single time, stronger than before? I genuinely believe it's because Bugatti was never really about selling cars. It was about proving that human engineering and artistry, pushed to their absolute limit, can create something almost mythical. That idea doesn't die easily, and clearly it hasn't. From a rented dye factory in a small French town in 1909, to record-breaking races in the 1920s, to the tragic loss of Jean Bugatti, to wartime occupation, to bankruptcy not once but twice, and finally to a modern rebirth involving Volkswagen, Porsche, and now Rimac, Bugatti's story is honestly one of the most dramatic in all of automotive history. It's a story about obsession, grief, ambition, and an unwillingness to ever accept good enough. If you learned something new today, that's exactly why this channel exists, and I genuinely appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribed for more deep dives like this one. Let me know in the comments which era of Bugatti's